There are a bunch of brand new ways to get tripped up in Disney World that just became issues in the last 6 months or so, so even if you think you're an expert, this is worth a watch. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and it's time to problem-proof your next Disney vacation. Spending much more than you have to, missing out on things you want to do, and hitting huge time-sucking issues in your Disney World day that could easily have been avoided are regular occurrences for rookies in Disney World. But with so many changes to the most magical place on Earth in the last few months, I feel like we're all rookies again now. We've made all the mistakes, my friends, and we're ready to help you foolproof your trip. Now, we're talking about some of the most important, newest, and most problematic issues in the video today, but if you want to make sure you're problem-free on your next Disney World trip, head on over to disneyfoodblog.com/more rookie mistakes to get a PDF of 20 more rookie mistakes that didn't quite make the cut for this video, but are still great to protect yourself against. All right, let's dive right into the first one, and that is not booking a hotel early enough. But there's a twist this time. Okay, so there are lots of reasons to book your Disney World hotel early. Your preferred hotel might sell out, they might sell out of a certain discount you want or room type, and once you have your hotel settled, you can start planning park days and transportation, etc. But we've got another good reason to book those hotels early. Lately, Disney has been allowing hotel guests only to book special events earlier than everyone else. Hotel guests got first crack at booking Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party this year, and it seems likely that Disney will continue to give priority to hotel guests when it comes to booking popular events. And you want to be a part of that world, especially if you want to go to events that are likely to sell out, like Mickey's Not So Scary on Halloween. Next, rookie mistake, buying Genie Plus too late, or when you don't really need it. We got a lot of new additions to the rookie mistakes party, and this is a big one. Genie Plus can feel really scary if you haven't used it and don't know how to get around its quirks and problems, and we've got plenty of videos to help you with that, so go watch those here. But I personally have had a few rookie errors the first few times I used Genie Plus, and you should learn from my mistakes just like I'm trying to. First, buying Genie Plus for a park that doesn't need it. So here are a few circumstances when that can happen. Parks that don't have that many long lines in the first place. Well, our research has shown that the best parks to buy Genie Plus for are Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. They have the biggest concentration of rides in general and the most rides that have long lines all day long. Epcot and Animal Kingdom, in contrast, don't have that many super popular rides, and the rides they do have on Genie Plus often keep relatively short wait times except for one or two. So if you can prioritize those popular rides first thing in the morning, you shouldn't have very long waits for the others throughout the day. Another thing to take into consideration are seasonal crowds. On days that the parks just aren't that busy, you may be able to get away without buying Genie Plus. So understand how busy the parks are predicted to be on your visit. FYI, the more you have to pay for your ticket or your hotel stay or how booked up the park passes are all good indicators, and you can make judgments accordingly. Now, the second Genie Plus mistake I've been making is buying Genie Plus too late in the day. So Genie Plus has two time elements involved: how long you have to wait before booking another Lightning Lane and how quickly Lightning Lanes sell out for the day. If you buy Genie Plus later in the day, you're just kind of up a creek no matter which time element you're concerned about. Now, I've done this twice because apparently I like to just throw money in the ocean instead of using it for things I need, and you're subject to a couple of problems here. First, more popular rides selling out for the day or not being available until very late at night, potentially after you and your family want to still be in the parks. And second, not being able to book as many Lightning Lanes due to forced time requirements. Let me explain. Once you book a Genie Plus Lightning Lane, you cannot book another one until 1, you tap into the first Lightning Lane you booked, or 2 hours go by. This is the infamous 120-minute rule. So if you buy Genie Plus later in the day, these time elements mean that you're limited in how many rides you may be able to feasibly ride, depending on when the parks close. So, moral of the story, buy Genie Plus at midnight the night before you go to the park, or buy it first thing in the morning if you know you want to use it. My two mistakes happened on days I flew into Disney World and Disneyland and couldn't help myself when I finally got to the park in the afternoon. But on your first day in the park, if it's already late, just skip it and buy it tomorrow morning instead. Okay, next rookie mistake, not knowing the important secrets. Now, this isn't really a mistake. How can you possibly know, right? And obviously there are tons of secrets to visiting Disney World successfully. That's why you watch this channel. But there are a couple that we rarely talk about that could make a big difference, especially if you're new or newly returning to Disney World. So did you know there's a back entrance to Epcot? It's called the International Gateway, and it can make a big difference on how long you wait to get on Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and how you get to the Skyliner. The International Gateway is between France and the UK in World Showcase, and if you enter through this back entrance, you're basically just steps from Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, so it should be very easy to jump in line for this headliner ride early in the morning without walking across the whole park like you'd have to do if you use the front entrance. Now, how do you get to the back entrance? Well, it's very close to the Boardwalk Inn, Yacht and Beach Club resorts, and Swan and Dolphin Resort, so if you're staying in any of those, it's just a quick walk to the IG. If you're not staying at those hotels but you're desperate to jump into line for Remy without a wait, consider taking a minivan, a rideshare, or a taxi from your resort to one of the hotels just mentioned and then walk in. Depending on how big your family is, this might still be less expensive than buying Genie Plus for everybody. And the IG is also where you'll find the Disney Skyliner Epcot terminal, so if you're traveling to Epcot via Skyliner from Hollywood Studios or any of those Skyliner hotels, you'll wind up at the International Gateway. Oh, and another quick transportation trick that not a lot of people know about, there are two ways to get to the Magic Kingdom by monorail, the Express Monorail and the Resort Monorail. The Resort Monorail stops at all of the hotels around Seven Seas Lagoon as well as Magic Kingdom and the Transportation and Ticket Center. It might have the shorter line from the TTC in the morning when everyone is taking the Express Monorail to Magic Kingdom, and in the evening when everyone is headed back to the TTC from the Magic Kingdom after the fireworks. Always good to check that one out. Next rookie mistake is riding a water ride too early in the day or waiting to ride an outdoor ride until it's too late. So this one can end in tears, or at the very least, being very soggy. Be careful when you plan to ride certain rides because the effects could be significant. When you're doing your planning ahead of your trip or choosing your Genie Plus rides in the morning, remember that riding a water ride like Splash Mountain or Kali River Rapids might mean a shorter line in the early morning, but it can also mean soggy clothes for a few hours during the rest of your park touring. Lines get long for these rides in the early afternoon when the sun is offensively hot in Orlando, so riding in the morning could mean a shorter wait, but be prepared with fresh socks for everyone for sure. And if you're choosing Genie Plus times, see if it makes sense to hold off on these rides until early afternoon. Now, speaking of afternoon in Orlando, let's talk about those outdoor rides that can shut down altogether if there's rain predicted or lightning in the area. This is another one to be careful of when planning, because if you have a kiddo who absolutely loves Test Track and you save it for 4 p.m. on your Epcot day in the summer, there's a good chance you won't be able to ride. So outdoor rides, think Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain Test Track, Tomorrowland Speedway, and any other out in the open attractions are likely going to close when the rainstorms are passing through, so be prepared and prepare your fam. The good news, if you have a Genie Plus Lightning Lane scheduled while the ride is closed, you'll automatically get a Lightning Lane put into your account to use on one of several rides in that park, including the one you missed later in the day, so plan to stick around and ride it later. All right, our next rookie mistake is not watching the park hours because they change and some parks stay open lots later than others. So as a rookie, you might think that Disney World's theme parks open and close all at the same times every single day. That would make sense, right? It's what other theme parks do. But no, you have to keep your eye on the park hours at Disney World like a hawk. Park open and closing times vary even for the same parks. Magic Kingdom might open at 8 one day but 9 the next day. It might close at 11 one day but 9 the next. The variations happen enough that even I don't go to Disney World thinking I have a steady lock on what's happening with park hours, and I really do check them every day. But when this is most important is when you're figuring out your park hopping schedule. If you schedule to start your day in a park that opens at 9 or 10 when others open at 8, then end your day in a park that closes at 8 when others close at 9 or 10, or even midnight, you could be missing out on literally hours of park time. And if there's a special event in a park like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in Magic Kingdom, the park which closed at 11 p.m. last night closes at 6 p.m. tonight. 5 hours lost if you didn't pay attention to the park hours. It's easy to find park hours on the My Disney Experience app, so keep an eye on them when you're planning, but also when you're in Disney World. Park hours can change closer to the date. A good recommendation is usually to start your day in Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, which usually open early and close relatively early, especially Animal Kingdom. Then end your day in Magic Kingdom or Epcot, which both usually close a little bit later. Epcot regularly closes at 9 p.m. All right, we talk about this a lot on the channel, so this rookie mistake I will make brief. Taking bad advice can tank your trip. Just because Aunt Susan says you have to stay at All Star Sports or John from accounting said Chef Mickey's was his jam and everyone goes there doesn't mean that you have to. Listen to advice, use it as a resource to fuel your research, but don't heed it mindlessly. Perfect example, I am fully aware the Connections Cafe in Epcot is not the best restaurant in Epcot. I know there are dozens of places I'd rather go, including Sunshine Seasons over at the Land Pavilion. I have eaten everywhere in Epcot many times. I'm very clear on the rankings. But when my son and I were in Epcot and we had a Lightning Lane reservation for Guardians of the Galaxy in 30 minutes, and all he and I, let's be honest, wanted were chicken fingers and fries, we went to Connections Cafe. And it was lovely. It fit the bill, the cast members were wonderful, we had our chicken tenders in a light and bright and comfortable atmosphere, and we went over to ride the ride. End of story. Checked all the boxes. Your perfect day in Epcot can be different from everyone else's, and that's okay. By the way, my son asked later in the trip if we could go back to his favorite restaurant with the chicken tenders, and guess what? We did. Okay, want to not spend money you don't have to spend? Me too. Do I still keep spending money I don't have to spend? Yes. So here and now, we both stop making this rookie mistake. When you make an advanced dining reservation in Disney World for a sit-down restaurant, you are committing to pay Disney $10 per person if you don't show up and you don't cancel the reservation the day before. Hard stop. So if there are 4 of you and you no-show at Ohana, which is a crime in several states, without canceling the day before, then you pay Disney $40 for the privilege of holding your spot. So if you're thinking you're not going to make it, as Dr. Seeker says, pop into your My Disney Experience account the day before and cancel or modify that reservation. Now there's a fun tip, modifying. If you didn't cancel your reservation and you're currently on the day of the ADR and you're realizing that the meal is going to be a no-go, like I often did when my toddler chose chaos instead of wanting to go to dinner, it could still be early enough to modify your reservation. This can be helpful if you just need to push it back an hour or move it to tomorrow. It's always worth a try. But if things are looking sketch for a dining res you made for tomorrow, consider canceling before it's too late. Now, this next one has to do with going to Disney World with a big travel group. And if you find yourself in this situation, then we need to sit down and have a much longer talk than this. But let me start you out with one quick rookie mistake you shouldn't make. Don't even think about it. Do not let Aunt Susan talk you out of this. Be open to splitting up the group if needed. It's that easy. But we all have family members who simply don't agree. They think everyone should stay together all the time, no matter what. So here are a few good suggestions that might change their minds. Maybe the whole family can stay together at a vacation home rental where y'all have a pool, a game room, a barbecue area, all kinds of opportunity for togetherness in the evenings and on non-park days. But if you want to split up into individual nuclear families at the parks on a couple of the days, that's cool. Next, maybe you can all do your own thing in the parks, but come together for meals like brunch one morning, dinner one evening, etc. And there are lots of ways to make life easier on yourselves if you're planning a group trip. You should consider them for everyone's sake. But if you are taking a group trip, you should definitely also take a look at our seriously adorable family tees that we just dropped in the DFB t-shirt store. These are currently bestsellers and are perfect for anyone and everyone in your fam. Okay, there's my shameless plug for these super cute t-shirts. Next is another early planning rookie mistake that lots of folks are getting wrong since Disney World reopened, and that's park passes. Okay, you know how to book a park pass. You just buy your tickets, then go reserve your park passes for the days you're going to visit those parks after checking park hours, of course, like we said before. But there are a few more mistakes to avoid in this process than you might know about. Before you buy your tickets, make sure there are park passes for the park you'd like to go to on the day you want to go there. Park passes can sell out quickly for holidays, ride opening days, and special celebration days. Did you know that October 1st, 2022 is Epcot's 40th anniversary? Park passes go quickly on days like that, and when Tron opens in Magic Kingdom, which there's no date announced yet, MK Park passes will be impossible to get within 10 minutes of that announcement. Also, watch out for Christmas, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. Overall, book your park passes early. They can usually be changed if needed, and they don't cost anything to book. And without them, well, no Disney World park entrance for you. All right, so overpacking is always a problem when going to Disney World. And I know you're saying, AJ, you talk about overpacking all the time, enough. But there have been a few changes lately that make it even easier not to make this rookie mistake. I don't know about you, but during the pandemic, I got real good at Instacart and Shipt and Amazon Fresh deliveries. And you can take that new skill set all the way to Disney World with you. I can remember lugging dozens of diapers, bottles of formula, baby wipes galore when I went to Disney World with my baby and my toddler. I've also been known to pack my own Diet Pepsi since I know it doesn't exist anywhere on Disney World property. But it is a new day, my friends, and you no longer have to pack all of your week's provisions the way you used to. Using services like Shipt, you can do your Target run right there in your Disney World hotel. And it's honestly not that much more expensive, certainly not as expensive as having to pay overweight luggage fees at the airport. So when you order from these delivery services, be sure to reset your address in the app if you already use it at home, and reset the store you're shopping from. And in the little specific notes delivery box, let your delivery person know to drop off the items at the front desk and send you a picture and the name of the person who accepted them. That way, even if they go missing or someone new comes on shift, you can let them know which person took the delivery and they can ask that cast member where the items were placed. This happened to me on my last Disney trip and they couldn't find the delivery and they said nothing was delivered, and I said, yeah, it was delivered. It was delivered to Joe, and they're like, oh, hey, Joe, where's this delivery? And Joe's like, oh yeah, I put it back here. And they found it. So that's super helpful to leave those little notes in the little delivery box section. And if you get a regular delivery from like Amazon Prime, they may actually bring it right to your room for you. What is this paradise? Okay, you know how marathon runners are out there every morning with their little water bottles on their hips and their weight backpack giving resistance? That's gonna be you. Well, not really, but kinda. When you're planning on taking a Disney World trip for the first time, your body is not used to it. When I go to the gym after being away for a while, I feel it the next day, and sometimes it takes a few days to recover. And Disney World is a workout. There have been 15-mile days for me, 30,000+ step days in the overwhelming heat. Your body, anyone's body, just is not used to that. So don't assume, no matter how good of shape you're in, that it's going to be easy for you. Start taking daily walks, getting used to hydrating regularly, and break in those shoes. Make this an activity for your whole family. You can all do it together as you train for your trip. Trip training, it makes a difference. Next, here's another one that I personally am so grateful for having learned, and that's how to get around Disney World, especially when it comes to bathrooms, but let's save that for a second. As you know, if you watch this channel, Disney World is over 40 square miles of glorious fun. It's huge, the size of 2 Manhattan Islands. The parks aren't next to each other, not by a long shot, and your hotel can be pretty far away too. Doing the research ahead of time on the fastest way to get from here to there is going to be priceless for you, especially knowing that time is money in Disney World, and every minute spent waiting for a bus or driving aimlessly around Orlando because you took a wrong turn. This is, of course, being said from personal experience because I feel like I take a wrong turn every single time I'm at Disney World. Those are minutes you're not getting use out of your expensive park tickets. So figure out ahead of time the transportation options that are going to be fastest and least crowded for your trip based on where you're going and when, and it'll make a big difference to your bottom line, but also your emotional bandwidth. Oh, and like I said, bathrooms. Study the My Disney Experience app maps and find those bathrooms ahead of time. Also, watch our best bathrooms in Disney World videos so you know our favorites. This next rookie mistake is a little assumptive, but I'm working off my own experience here, y'all. Don't make the mistake of thinking this is going to be a relaxing vacation, unless you're planning it that way. For example, if you're working in lots of pool days, sleeping in, and long relaxing dinners. But most of us do not plan a Disney World vacation that way, so be aware of that ahead of time. It's a lot of walking in the brutally hot sun, unless you're lucky enough to go during those precious months when Orlando stays under 80 degrees. You're standing in lines and being surrounded, sometimes a little too closely for comfort, by thousands of randos for days on end, and then you get sunburned. It can be magical, there's no denying that, but give yourself the best possible chance of having that magical time. Work in at least one of those pool days, or at least a pool afternoon. Let everyone sleep in once or twice, and schedule one lovely relaxing dinner with a bottle of wine maybe. You'll all be better for it, and you'll enjoy your trip so much more. Okay, next we're back to the not spending money we don't need to spend. A lot of Disney rookies don't know that they should never pay rack rate for their hotel. They can get great discounts on food and merchandise if they know the right tips, and should always be aware of the deals Disney's making available to them on their trip. And I've got 2 tips for you that'll help with that, besides the fact that we've given all of these tips like 50 times on our channel, so it's definitely out there for you. First, our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining ebook. If you haven't picked this up yet, now's the time. It has hundreds of pages of tips, food reviews, budget recommendations, and yes, every single discount we know about. You can pick it up at dfbstore.com. Don't forget to use code YouTube for a discount. Hey, look at that, another discount. And remember that it's a money-back guarantee. If you don't love it, we'll refund it. No questions asked. It doesn't happen that much, honestly, so we don't really have a lot of questions. And secondly, you can always use the services of a dedicated Disney expert travel agent. We work with Small World Vacations, and those agents book Disney trips full-time, like 24/7, so they know all the tips and discounts and can actually rebook your vacation with a new discount if one comes out. So we've got a link in the description for you if you'd like to get a quote from them. And remember, if you want 20 more rookie mistakes and how to avoid those, head on over to our newsletter link in the description to sign up for our free newsletter, and we'll send them right to your inbox. Believe me, I make a lot of mistakes. All right, are we ready to go? Of course we are. I keep making mistakes in Disney World so you don't have to, and I hope these tips are helpful. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. If you have your own rookie mistake stories, please share them in the comments because we're all here to laugh and sometimes cry with you, not at you. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.